President Goodluck Jonathan has asked that the recommendations of the 2014 conference be implemented to resolve the crisis and challenges confronting the nation. No President Buhari and the governor of Edo State, Governor Obama, pointed out today, warning of
It's an assortment of excited interest groups that have converged on the grounds of the National Museum at the King Square in Benin City, the Edo State capital, in spite of the light showers. Their mission here is to show publicly their support for the state government, and the arrival of the governor and his team is greeted with cheers.
Everybody dancing, singing, everybody singing.
One after the other, the different group heads, market and youth leaders state the reasons for their conviction.
We don't talk ourselves. We go follow and go anywhere where they go. Obasaki now 8 years, now we give them where we go take work for Edo State. We market women, we dey enjoy it before, but now we can't enjoy past.
We have Edo Job. Edo Production Center is there. Edo Innovation Hub is there. The youth are being empowered. What else do we want? The governor has come to deliver the dividends of democracy to us in Edo State.
The Edo best teachers also speak on their improved status.
When people say we are nothing to write them about, our good governor, where can see governor, action speak louder than words, came up and trained us. Here we are today. This is the product of Obaseki training. Training teachers, transforming them to become digital teachers.
Governor Godwin Obaseki uses the opportunity to pledge to do more for Edo people.
Our focus is our children, to make sure that Edo State continues to maintain leadership in education in this country. That we will continue to produce the best manpower for our country. I continue to commit to my electoral promises to you.
The governor also insists that the peace enjoyed in the state must be sustained. The celebratory mood remains with a crowd of supporters, even as the governor departs the rally grounds.
We are behind you, Mr. Governor.
Jonathan has asked that the recommendations of the 2014 CONFAB be implemented to resolve the lingering security crisis and challenges confronting the nation. Will President Buhari restructure Nigeria? And the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has voiced out today a warning opposition of his government against aiding external forces and factors in the political tension in the state. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Akimbale at Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Well, it's good to be back on the show and so much to chew on a day like this. Let's also check out our countdown and as we monitor some of the activities of the government, President Muhammadu Buhari, as the nation eagerly awaits the formation of the President's cabinet. It is now 43 days since the inauguration of the government for a second term in office, and we await the formation of the President cabinet. We are hearing a lot of stories about who will make the cuts in the government, who are those that will make the ministerial nomination. We understand that that list might get to the National Assembly. Interestingly, today is Thursday, the last plenary day of the week. So we're still waiting. First, before we get into the deep of today's conversation about the issues of security of yourself and mine and this nation and how it can overcome its many challenges and perhaps mounting problems, let's touch base in Edo State. We showed you a clip earlier, a package where the governor, Godwin Obaseki, was warning external influence in the already tense political atmosphere in the state. It was an event tagged a solidarity rally for him. The governor is confident of retaining his seat and promising to keep to his electoral promises to the people of the state. But he's very vehement on the opposition to his politics and government. Take a listen to him.
Those of you who have gone outside to Abuja to say that people from outside should come and invade Edo, to come and seize our House of Assembly, we are waiting for you. We are waiting for you. It's okay. What we are going through today, we went through 10 years ago. The same thing, nothing has changed. It's just unfortunate that some people who were with us when we started that struggle, today we do not know what has happened to them. But it is a struggle we will win. Because it is a struggle that says that the people must lead.
Well, the issue in Edo State is perhaps nothing that we end today because it's ongoing and the crisis is yet to be resolved. Let's get to the matter of more national importance now. Today, former President Goodluck Jonathan is asking for the implementation of the 2014 National Conference, as he says that is a solution to most of the challenges confronting the nation. He was speaking at a book presentation by Senator Femi Okunromu, who chaired the committee which worked on the framework for the CONFAB in 2014. Other speakers at the event insists Nigeria must restructure now to fix the many problems it currently faces. Former President Jonathan says politics must be set aside. Take a listen to a snippet of what he said earlier today.
Efforts have been made towards addressing some of these challenges. However, we seem to play politics with sensitive and serious matters that affect us. The call for reform has continued to grow louder, guarding the kind of momentum that should no longer be overlooked by anybody if the nation must make real progress. I believe that the solutions to most of the problems we face today lie in a honest assessment of the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference. If we take politics out of our consideration, there is every likelihood that a diligent implementation of the key recommendations of the conference will lead the nation out of the woods This will heal frayed nerves, promote solidarity, engender peace, and reposition our nation for meaningful growth and sustainable development.
So you heard him, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, there talking about the implementation of the 2014 FOBA. He's telling the president that is a solution to Nigeria's problem. But he also was quick to say that whenever he talks about this, people are quick to remind him that why did you not implement it when you were in office? He gave a defense to the reasons why he did not. But these are some of the issues now that we'll be touching on tonight, which is very important to you. How do we get out of the economic problems of the country, the insecurity challenges facing the country? These are some of the recommendations preferred in the 2014 CONFA: fiscal federalism, rotational presidency, creation of more seats, derivation principle, resource control, and a whole lot of issues. There were 620 recommendations. 492 delegates were there to discuss this. It was inaugurated on the 17th of March, and it ended in August of that year. So many issues to discuss also. Why the president has not set up a cabinet. Who are we expecting to see in the cabinet in the what they call the next level? Are we seeing the old hands or the new hands? Now, again, another issue on President Buhari's mind: restructuring. A lot of people are asking the issue of second-term responsibility. What is promised, and his party, are they going to deliver? The politics, economy, and a lot of issues. Look, what perhaps going to make the cut? You perhaps have been reading the newspapers and hearing that most of these people might be making the cut on the nomination list. But let's get to our major topic of the day: the advice of this man to the president. Implement the CONFAB report. Let's get talking, everyone, tonight. Joining me, a reputable and a foremost Nigeria historian, elder statesman, Professor Banji Akintoye is in our Lagos studio. From Abuja studio is Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, is the chieftain of the APC. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming on the program tonight. How important is it for us to restructure Nigeria? Is that our problem?
It is very important to restructure Nigeria. I have said it in writing, on television, in speeches, in lectures in universities, that if we do not restructure Nigeria, we cannot sustain Nigeria. It's that simple. If we do not restructure this country, if the government of the country continues to be dominated by a heavily burdened and distracted and incompetent federal government, it will be impossible to hold Nigeria together.
How easy it is, because people talk about restructuring, but the politics, the technicalities is a whole lot. The president even mentioned it, that there's a need for true federalism. That means there's a realization.
I think the president was just playing, just trying to distract the attention of the people, divert the attention of the people from issues. I don't think it means to do anything about true federalism. I don't think so at all. Nothing that we have seen about President Buhari gives the impression that he cares at all about true federalism. He's comfortable with a government in Abuja that is in control of every little, that is able to micromanage Nigeria, that is able to push the governors around and make them do his bidding, and so on. I think it's obvious. I don't think many Nigerians are deceived about that.
Professor, just a moment. Honorable Adamu Aliyu, because you remember, Professor, there was a time when the APC came together to form what they call the True Federalism Committee. We've not heard anything about it, Honorable Adamu Aliyu. If Nigerians are saying restructuring is important, just in about 30 seconds, so you lead us to the break and we'll come back to you again. Is the president committed to listening to the yearnings of Nigerians?
Everybody. Now, the professor, I need to, because evidently the professor who is supposed to be a professor, he's already partisan, and evidently he's ignorant of the constitution of this country. How can a professor, I don't know professor of what, he should know that to restructure it needs processes. So if anybody wants to structure, let's structure. But then before you restructure, you need to speak to your members of the National Assembly. Let them propose a bill. Nobody is afraid of that. But these things need to take processes. These things need to be done according to the constitution of this country. You cannot just wake up one day and say restructure. How? And when Jonathan said recommendations, what did he do from 2014 August till the time he left? Was it part of his handing over notes? How dare him talk of advice now?
Let me pause it for a moment. Apologies because we need to take a break. There are a lot of issues there, Honorable Adamu Aliyu, that you have raised. A lot of issues, again, that Nigerians will ask your party 4 years down the line, what did you do also? That's a big question. I'll allow him to answer when we come back from this break, everyone. Join us again. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So that is what has been the bone of contention for tonight on the program. Former President Goodluck Jonathan telling the president, implement 2014 confab report. That is a way out of the conundrum and some of the challenges the nation is confronted with today. Insecurity, the issues of economy, debt profile. Well, can the issue of restructuring resolve our many problems? So I have the privilege of Professor Banji Akintoye, a notable historian and elder statesman. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And we have also from our Abuja studio, Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, is a chieftain of the APC and a former member of the House of Representatives. Before we went on that break, Honorable Aliyu, you were saying, and I was going to ask you, when you talked about what is needed to do restructuring, the big question is that your party had spent 4 years. You know all of these problems. Your party has criticized the People's Democratic Party at a time before you got into power. Now you're not able to restructure in 4 years. You set up a committee, through Federalism Committee. You're not able to do anything with that report. But the former president is now telling your party and the government of the day that you need to implement that report.
Okay. Now, you see, the answer to all these issues about our party is in the election victory. Whatever anybody wants to say, we won an election, which means the people of this country have agreed with whatever we're doing. So, I mean, restructuring, yes, our party, our government agrees with restructuring. But then, as I said, also, if you look at the video that you showed, where President Jonathan and other people, or all the persons that are talking about restructuring, seem to come from some section of the country, why can't they, as a matter of right, inform their members, force their members, that look, when you go to National Assembly, we want you to go on one-point agenda, structure this country. So, you know, and then I want leaders like Jonathan, like Professor, to speak as nationalists, to speak as good Nigerians. I make bold and proud to say, I, Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, being a nationalist from another part of the country, a Muslim, a Fulani man, went to court to get judgment against late President Eradua for him to be acting president of this country. That's nationalism. That's Nigeria. I mean, so it's not about where you come from or who you are. Restructure the country does not mean that that's the solution of this country. When you have leaders,
so let me ask you, Honorable Aliyu, what do you think is the problem?
The professor was saying,
that's the moment, Honorable Aliyu.
The incompetent government in Abuja. I mean, that's been very, very selfish. If the government in Abuja is incompetent, why were they
can you be mindful of the choice of words, please? Because this is, Professor is over the age of 80. And let's be mindful with the choice of words. But the question is, what do you think is the solution? Okay, it seems that there's been a cut there. Professor, you heard what Honorable Adamu Aliyu says. The restructuring is beyond a lot of your colleagues, Chief Adebanjo, a whole lot of people have been talking about how to restructure. But the way forward is really the issue. If we must restructure, it's just beyond mouthing it, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm beyond the answering to personal innuendos and attacks and so on, and regional or ethnic anything. Nigeria is our country. is a country of many different nationalities. At the time we were working towards independence in the 1950s, our leaders agreed on the federal structure. It served us well. Along the way, because of the intervention by the military and so on and so forth, we lost the federal structure. We lost the federation. We stumbled into some sort of chaotic unitary state. Those are true facts in this country. I don't think anybody needs to come from any part of Nigeria to recognize that. It's easy to see. And I do not reject his claim that we from the Southwest are fighting for restructuring, but we are not the only people fighting for restructuring. The Southeast is fighting for restructuring. The South-South is fighting for restructuring. The Middle Belt is fighting for restructuring. And only one little section of the country is rejecting restructuring.
Well, Professor,
so all of that.
Some people will say, some of the argument is that restructuring means different things to different people.
No, it doesn't mean it
for the context of the problem of the country, for example, security issues in the country.
One thing that I must say is that restructuring is the best solution. But talking about restructuring today, with due respect, sir, is a distraction to the problem that faces us now.
Well, I thought you said that's the solution.
It is a solution, but that is not what we should be talking about today. We will always fight for restructuring. We will get restructuring, happen as it may. I believe that will happen. But today, the problem of Nigeria is one of insecurity. Every day, people are being killed in this country. Every day, people are being kidnapped. I don't think we should take that away from the front of our eyes and begin to talk about restructuring now. President Jonathan, we thank him for talking about restructuring. But with due respect, I repeat, that's not the immediate problem of today. Let us not take the immediate problem of today away from our gaze and begin to behave as if, if we restructure...
Insecurity is a major issue.
It is.
And that's what we need to focus on.
That's what we should focus on.
And perhaps, let me use that opportunity to, as we round up the conversation. Honorable Adamu Aliyu, your government promised it was going to fix security in the country. As part of the conversation around how we can fix this country, insecurity challenges seems to be mounting, kidnapping, insurgency, and a whole lot of issues. Is your government really handling these the way it should?
Well, I can assure you that I totally agree with the professor that absolutely what's in front of this country is the security issue. It's true. I mean, there is a lot of insecurity in this country. And nobody should also be blind of exactly what is happening. From the last 2-3 weeks, there has been so much improvement from the operatives. You know, you've seen what the police are doing, you've seen what the military are doing, which means that we have to take it one step at a time. Yes, it's true. Yes, there are kidnappings. Yes, there are killings. Yes, there are, but at least now, the bombardments all over the place that used to happen in Abuja, between Kano and Abuja, Kano and Maiduguri, in Jos, in other places of the northern part of the country, these things have drastically reduced. It is true, I'm not saying that the whole situation is under control, but I assure you that the government of the day is doing a lot of things to ensure there is improvement. And as I said, everybody in this country is noticing this improvement now. We've seen several times the police parading suspects that are arrested due to kidnappings, killings, and what have you. So we have to do it legally.
We need to go now. We need to go now. I must sincerely thank you, Honorable Adamu Aliyu. In 10 seconds, Professor, if you are talking to the president, assuming he's watching right now, and we need to fix the security problem, what one sentence would you say to him?
I would say, Mr. President, this is our country. It is wrong to let the desires and expectations and the cultural tendencies of any one single section of the country disrupt the country.
That's what you tell him?
I would tell him that.
Right.
We must not disrupt this country to satisfy the cultural idiosyncrasies of any section of our country.
We need to put it at that and leave it at that. But well, you know what? In politics, opposition will speak, the ruling party will promise. Well, who will deliver? At the end of the day, the people get the brunt of it all. And that's why we come on the program, to give all the sides to the conversation. Honorable Damali, thank you so much for coming on the program. Professor, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
That's our show today, everyone. I'm glad to be back to the program. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.